Hi, it's Ra, Rishi Kavi Raghudas from Star Presence Astrology, here to give the astrological forecast for Monday, January 6th, 2025. Well, today the energy shifts quite a bit from recent days, which is a good thing in some ways, but today also has its obstacles that we're just going to have to find our way around. First thing that occurs is that Mars, a planet of energy and often conflict, which you recall has been in a direct opposition from early Leo to Pluto, the Lord of power and darkness, in early Aquarius, causing, or let's say providing, an energetic space for the violent events of recent days. Mars retrogrades back into the very subjective and ultra-sensitive water sign of Cancer early this morning, which means we're just going to be in our moods for a while here. Mars is not very comfortable in a water sign, particularly one as subjective as Cancer. Mars retrogrades back into Cancer at 2:44 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5:44 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 10:44 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Second thing that occurs early today is that Mercury, the planet of communication, which you recall has been moving through the fire sign of Sagittarius, generally a more optimistic and buoyant energy, is now at 27 degrees of Sagittarius, making a hard square, 90-degree angle to Neptune, the planet of illusion, delusion, and confusion on the lower end of things, creativity and spirituality on the higher end of things, but a hard square of Mercury to Neptune says don't trust anything that somebody says today, or at least half the day, the early part of the day. And it also happens to be, by the way, in the birth chart of a former president of the United States who is about to be re-inaugurated for unfathomable reasons, in my view. But so you can judge for yourself what kind of effect this energy has. This occurs exactly at 5:56 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10:56 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 3:56 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. To take everything with a grain of salt today as a result. Now the moon is moving, of course, when we get to the sun first, of course, the sun is at 16 moving to 17 degrees of ambitious and organized and tradition-loving and sometimes authoritarian Earth sign Capricorn. So we have our brown on here today for Capricorn, and the moon today is moving through the mid to late degrees of very groundbreaking, trailblazing, initiating, and kind of raw energy, ruled by Mars, by the way, fire sign Aries. So we've got the red, fire engine red on here for Aries, as we always do when the moon is in Aries. But the moon doesn't make an aspect until later in the day. Well, actually, looking at this chart now, it's about midday or so, morning to midday. Moon makes a harmonious sextile, 60-degree angle to Jupiter, planet of good fortune and expansion. From 12 degrees of Aries to Jupiter at 12 of Gemini, that's actually a good thing. That can make up for some of this other strange energy here. That occurs at 8:38 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11:38 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 4:38 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. That's nice and buoyant, so get a few good things done. Make your phone calls around that time. They will tend to work themselves out. Then later in the afternoon, moving toward the evening, the moon makes a hard square, 90-degree angle from 16 of Aries to the sun at late 16 degrees of Capricorn, and that is the waxing quarter moon. We are on our way to the next full moon, and we're halfway there now, and traditionally the quarter moon is a time of tension. So we're just going to have to deal with things later in the day. That occurs precisely at 3:56 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6:56 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11:56 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. And finally, this evening, the moon conjoins Chiron, called the Wounded Healer, at 19 degrees of Aries, which is about, well, it can be about holistic practices and good spiritual teaching, but it's often about digging up wounds, too. So it's just another cautionary element today. That occurs precisely at 7:31 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10:31 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 3:31 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. So easy does it today, and stay aware. I'm Ra, Rishi Kavi Raghudas from Star Presence Astrology. Now, if you would like to have a personal reading with me and see what 2025 has in store for you, you can book it on my website, starpresence.net. Remember, from the very moment that you're born, you've got star presence. Enjoy this day, no matter what.